Hey guys, welcome to another Elephant Gaming video. Today I'm going to be bringing you the Dawn of War 3 beta, the multiplayer beta. Today I'm going to be talking about my experiences with it, the multiplayer, the different armies, what makes each army unique, some of their units, how you win in multiplayer, the win condition, and kind of how everything works, how I feel the game is compared to the old Dawn of War games, and yeah, without further ado, let's hop right into it. Okay guys, so the first thing I want to talk about the multiplayer is the loadouts that you get for each faction. Now, on the left side of the screen, you get to choose 3 different commander type units for your loadout, each of them with their own different abilities, some of them kind of offensive heroes, some of them kind of defensive heroes. They each have unique abilities and things they can use. And then also, on the right side of the screen, you get to select 3 passive abilities for your army too. You know, one of them, for example, for the orcs is non-elite units heal when they take scrap. Stuff like that. There's some unique things you can get. Some of them are unlockable, so there is kind of a progression system for each of the armies. You have to get a certain commander or something to level 8 to unlock these passives. So there is a progression system, which I do like with this game. It makes you feel like you're working towards something and you kind of have a main army. So that is something I do really enjoy, and I think it's a great addition to the game. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the uniqueness between the armies. For example, the Space Marines have these drop pod system. And you can choose for resource points to load up these drop pods, which take a little bit of time to essentially build or load up before they're able to use. But you get to click them, you select a unit that you want to be used in the drop pod. You have to have that unit unlocked already in your base before you can use it in a drop pod, of course. But then you can drop those drop pods anywhere that you have vision on, which is really unique. You know, it's something that no other army has. That is something that the Space Marines have themselves, and it gives a uniqueness to their army. So just like the Marines have drop pods, orcs have this very unique looting system. Basically what it is you build these towers. They're called Wog Towers. And they drop scrap every so often onto the ground. And every one of your units in the orc army that you can build can loot this scrap. And it gives an upgrade to each unit depending on what unit picked up the scrap. For example, your Shooter Boys, your basic ranged gun units, when they loot scrap, they gain the Sticky Bombs ability, which allows them to passively every now and again throw a sticky bomb at whoever they're fighting, and also gives them the active ability of throwing a sticky bomb wherever you choose. And it's different for each unit. You know, like the trucks, they gain a passive armor buff when you loot scrap. You know, even your generals can loot scrap. One of your generals, when he loots scrap, he gets this passive buff that whenever he kills a unit, he shoots fireworks up into the air, and it basically rallies all of your other units, gives them a small wog, and increases their damage and attack speed for a short while. So it's a very cool, unique system. It's essentially, if you have the scrap laying around, you can buff up every one of your units. Your long range kind of suppressor units, the big guns guys, they're called the Ludas. When they loot scrap, they get little laser sights on the end of their guns, and then their bullets also slow enemies when hit. So it's kind of a pseudo suppression type of ability because it slows them down, which is really cool, and it kind of gives orcs, you know, a little extra something on their battlefield with their units by being able to upgrade them as long as there is scrap available for your units. And then lastly, of course, we have the Eldar. And the Eldar, they have their classic web gate ability where they can build web gates wherever they choose around the map, and they can teleport units in between those web gates. So, you know, each army has their own things, you know. The Space Marines, they can kind of surprise you with some drop pods and kind of bolster their army out of nowhere, and it can catch you off guard pretty quick. The orcs, as long as they have loot, their units are actually stronger than they seem. You can upgrade them. You can choose which units you want upgraded. Some of them gain abilities when they're upgraded with loot. So it's very cool. And the Eldar, they can kind of move wherever they want, kind of out of nowhere. They can, you can see them at the bottom side of the map, and then the next thing you know, they're at the top side of the map. And it's very hard to counter that, because you have to move your units all the way over there if you're not playing Eldar, which makes it harder to play. So I really do feel like each army kind of has their own play style. The orcs are very Zergy, like from StarCraft. Run in, cheap units. They don't require a lot of power to make, just requisition, and they can do a lot of work in numbers. Whereas Eldar and Space Marines have kind of more expensive units, but they're a little bit more stronger in general, and there's just not as many of them. Now, the last thing I want to talk about as far as multiplayer goes is how you win. There's essentially 3 objectives on the map. They kind of think of MOBAs with towers. At the front is these power generators, and you have to destroy these power generators to move on to the next objective. When you go past that, you then hit a sentry turret, and the sentry turret does a lot of damage in a straight line. So if all your units are standing in a straight line behind this, they will all get hit by its beam, which is very devastating. It can destroy a lot of armies real fast, and you kind of need to spread out your units so it can't just hit all of them at once. And then after that, by where the bases are built at the beginning of the game is their power core. And destroying the power core is how you win. You actually don't destroy their base specifically, it's just the power core. And once that, the game is over and you win. So it's cool. It's more objective based. It's not point based. It's kind of just running it down their throats, which I think is better than the point system they had in Dawn of War 2. Okay, so now that we've talked a little bit about the differences between the armies and how you win in a multiplayer match, let's talk about the things you do with your army and how you get towards winning. So how the resource point system works is that there's these little nodes all over the map. They're kind of divided equally in between both players. And then there's kind of these contested points that you can fight over. There's 3 resources in this game that you can acquire through these resource points. There is requisition, power, and then elite points. Now, requisition is the most used one. You use requisition to recruit your basic units, and then it generates a lot faster than power, a lot like the old Dawn of War games worked. And then power is used more for upgrades for your army and for vehicle units and stuff like that. Now the elite points, these where the elite points are generated, those are kind of the contested ones. If you control those, you gain elite points faster. Everybody passively generates elite points without these being captured, but these will allow you to get these elite points quicker. And what the elite points do is that's what allows you to summon your generals that you select in your loadout. That's what allows you to bring down your Titan, and we're going to get into the Titans here in a bit. So those are kind of the 3 resource points on the map. Now, of course, we all know Dawn of War 2 was not that great of a game. At least, I played it, I liked it, but it could have been a lot better. And I think my biggest disappointment with Dawn of War 2 was the base building. There was none. And in Dawn of War 3, they definitely have base building now. It's not just upgrade your stronghold 3 times and just produce units from there. No, that is gone. They have buildings that you actually build now. There's not too many of them. It's not like if you've played StarCraft, it's not like an overwhelming amount of buildings. They all do a bunch of different stuff. It's pretty straightforward, You basically have 2 different barracks buildings, one with basic units, one with kind of a little bit more specialty units. You have your upgrade building where you purchase upgrades from. You have your vehicle building where you build vehicles from. And then you can also create these things called listening posts on top of your resource points, and it basically just builds a turret on your resource point so it can kind of defend itself. So they actually have buildings that you can create now. There are certain buildings that are unique to certain factions. Like the orcs have their Wog towers that can be built, where obviously Space Marines don't have anything similar to that. So there is base building now. You can build your buildings wherever you like. You have workers that go and build them. Your units come out from there, not from your main base. However, you can build your very first basic unit from your base, and your workers can only be made from your base. So you need these buildings to get anything beyond that. Alright guys, and last but not least, the Titans. The newest addition in Dawn of War 3. Very cool units. Now these units cost elite points. They're the most expensive elite point units you can bring in your loadout. Now you don't have to bring them in your loadout. You can switch them out if you don't enjoy using the Titan. But they are big and strong, and they each have their own different abilities. We'll start off with the Orc Titan, Beauty. Beauty is very tanky, has a lot of health, slow moving, has an ability to create a scrap shield around herself and shoot a power bolt out, blocking all damage that comes into that scrap shield. Now, her second ability is she shoots her fist out at a target, stuns everybody in that area, and then also brings back whatever was there to Beauty. Now moving on to the Eldar. The Eldars is not very tanky. It's very agile, fast moving compared to the other Titans, but it has a significantly less health than the Space Marine Titan and the Orc Titan. Has one more ability on top of the other Titans, where the other two Titans only have 2 abilities. The Eldar have 3. It has an ability to block damage with a shield. It can jump and do a slash ability, as you just seen. And then it also has this wind-up kind of attack that stuns and kind of pacifies everybody in that range. Now, moving on to the Space Marines, you have Imperial Knight Solara. Very mean looking with that skin. Her first ability is a Death Sweep ability. Very cool, very effective for grouped up. She spreads up her arms and shoots across there, goes in and then goes out and just slaughters everybody in that area. Now there is a wind up time, so it can be dodged fairly easily, but if you catch people in it, it's devastating. Second ability is these rockets that she can shoot, that shoots down. You have 6 of them. There is a reload time to them, and then she shoots them up into the air and they come back down and they just wreck everything that was standing in there. Alright guys, so that about wraps up everything I had to say about the game and what I experienced. Now, should you buy it when it releases? If you're a fan of the RTS gaming genre, I think it's going to be a great pickup for you. It's a lot of fun. It's not overly complicated like some strategy games can be, but it's not completely dumbed down and shallow like Dawn of War 2 was. So I think it's a good game. There's a lot to it. It's a lot of fun. It looks amazing. And if you're a fan of the Dawn of War series, then this has to be a pickup for you because it's a great game. It's a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to see what's going to be coming in the future for this game. So thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, hit that like button. If you want me to make more videos, let me know by hitting that like button. That's the best way to tell me that you want to see more. I also do stream. I will be streaming. I stream a lot of different games, not just RTS games, but I play a lot of different games. So if you want to check out my stream, make sure to swing by there. I will leave a link in the description, and we will see you guys next time, and thanks for tuning in.